difference between ammonia and nitrate. And I don't think a lot of people get that they're different.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe talk a little on that.
Sure. Well, so nitrate is running thermodynamically uphill and ammonium runs down. So if you're going to go for a 2-mile jog, do you want to go uphill or downhill? Nitrate takes a vast amount of energy to be reduced into a usable nitrogen for the plant. It's one of the most energy inefficient processes for a single process in a plant. Ammonium does take some energy, but not even nearly as much as nitrate. So those are some larger differences. And when you're looking at the N in nitrate, you need to shear off the oxygen to really understand the portion of nitrogen that you're getting. So it's 3 oxygen and 1 nitrogen. So when you're looking at nitrate, people forget that because oxygen is the vast majority of nitrate. But when you're looking at ammonium and you're looking at the nitrogen part of ammonium, well, that's just hydrogen and they don't weigh anything. So the nitrogen portion of ammonium is very similar, not exactly, but very similar to the ammonium. The parts per million of total ammonium is very similar to the N in ammonium. The parts per million of nitrate is very not similar, completely unsimilar, very different than the N in nitrate. If I said that correctly, I don't know.
Yes. So how does the ammonia versus the nitrate affect the plant processes?
Well, they both go in. The plant wants to make them into amino acids and proteins. It's just that when you apply a whole bunch of nitrate, you really need to have all the other macro and micronutrients in play to be able to reduce and have enough energy to reduce that nitrate into amino acids and proteins. You need to have a lot of it and you need to have enough energy there to do so. So they're both going to be reduced into amino acids and proteins. It's just a matter if the plant has enough energy. And if the plant doesn't have enough energy, then the nitrate sits in your leaves and it sits in unconverted nitrogen, which means, say, the nitrate that you're adding to your plant, the plant is using 50% of. So every dollar of nitrogen that you're giving, nitrogen, the plant is only using 50 cents of, and the other 50 cents is thrown away. And that's not very good math for growing. And unconverted nitrate, high levels can go down actually the wrong pathway to diseases and pests, which actually make you put out more money to fight those. So there's a whole domino effect to having large amounts of unconverted nitrate in your leaves.
And that would be in tissue or sap or both?
Well, in sap analysis, you get nitrogen volatilization in tissue unless you treat the leaves like sap analysis. So when the leaves warm up, the first thing to go in nitrogen volatilization is nitrate. So numbers coming from tissue leaves are exposed to heat, which even speeds up the volatilization process even faster. So sap analysis is all about keeping the leaves cool in a closed container and running the process in less than 20 minutes, which really minimalizes volatilization. Tissue analysis doesn't take volatilization into account. So really, it's a very diluted But SAP analysis can give you the N in nitrate, the N in ammonium, total N, and then a nitrogen conversion efficiency percent, meaning how much of your nitrogen is being converted into amino acids and proteins. That is not a component of tissue. Tissue, again, is total accumulation of nutrients.
So if you have unrealized nitrogen pool in nitrate form in SAP, it's not that you have to worry about losing it in volatilization. It's more about the fact that it's bound up and that the plant can't use it. Like you said before, the plant can steal nitrogen out of the leaf as part of the other plant's growing and needs it, but it can't steal it if it's in that form.
No, it needs to be in a more usable form. So, I mean, an example of a problematic situation would be plants that are going into nitrogen deficiency and having high nitrate.
And they can't pull it.
And they can't pull it, and they can't use it. And so somebody, if they didn't understand this, they would potentially add even more nitrate, which could actually make that whole situation much worse.
We call them morons. Don't put more.
They just didn't know. And you talk about volatility. Well, the soil, yes, you can lose nitrogen from the soil, but when you talk about looking at nitrate in a plant, it's inside the vascular bundle. It's pretty difficult to lose it from inside that sheath, right? So
yeah, and that was, that's always been the bitch that, like, I'm a soil engineer too, and when I deal with these engineered soil systems where they only have 1% organic matter and they're using nitrates, they're frying through their organic matter because the microbes use the organic matter as a way of breaking that extra O off of it and releasing that in a more uptakeable form of nitrogen. And so that's always been the battle, is like you're depleting your soils to feed your plant. You need to be using more ammoniacal sources of nitrate so that you're not depleting the very little bit of organic matter you have left. So the way you just explained that is awesome, because that now it kind of makes it easier for people to understand that, oh, okay, in certain circumstances, I should be leaning more, if I'm going to be using a synthetic form of nitrogen, that I should be leaning more toward the ammonia. It's easier to uptake. We're not going to have a 50% loss in value of it. And it's going to.
It is acidic though.
Yeah, well, yeah, you do have that. You definitely have that as an issue. And
so
also,
it's not get out of jail free card totally. And you do need to make sure that you have enough trace elements. And if you put too much, actually certain plants, not all plants, but certain species can have ammonium toxicity.
yes. No, that's beautiful. Well put. Yeah.